You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd. And Marlon, do you believe in miracles?
Well, somewhat. We'll get to that. We are 3-0 on our picks. 2 underdogs cashing. Another game that was over in 5 minutes, really. But God, who I don't believe in, found a multitude of ways to fuck me in the ass otherwise.
Well, football gods. You believe in those.
Oh, right. The pagan gods. The pagan gods I'm good with.
Yeah, so there you go. No, but we need to send out press releases here, because anybody else hitting 4 underdogs in their picks in the first 3 weeks would be fucking, phone us for our underdog pick of the week and $10.99 and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, fair enough.
'Cause we're doing well.
Yeah, and overall, we both had good weeks, too.
And if anybody's listened to the podcast from the inception, anytime we've changed how we bet, it's generally been successful.
Well, yeah, we're learning from our mistakes. We're refining things a little.
But remember when we went, what the hell did we do year one? We were doing something, then we changed.
We were doing a $1 underdog pick and fucking parlays all over the place.
No, but we did something. We made some strategic decision about 6 weeks in, and then we started to win. It's like every time we change something up and make ourselves do a little more thinking on it, we get better.
Yeah, I think what we did was we started looking at all the games instead of just selecting a few each and arguing those. So, unfortunately, that takes a little more time, and we want to come in tight tonight. So, you ready for the recaps?
Let's recap.
Okay, the Thursday night game. I got wrong, you got correct. Washington +4 at the Giants. Why didn't I listen to myself about my opinion of Kirk Cousins? Can you tell me?
Or just Washington in general. You place too much on the Rams and Miami.
And Miami, as it turns out. I think the Miami influenced me more than the Rams, but I didn't watch a minute of this game, which is my usual philosophy, not to watch Thursday night games unless they involve the Chargers.
I watched some of it. It wasn't a great game by either team, but the Redskins, Kirk Cousins is...
What I've said he is all along?
Yeah, below average quarterback, and it's hard to believe how many of those are floating around the NFL these days, but...
Well, briefly on that point, Drew McGarry pointed out, there's always only a half dozen good ones. You know, go back to the 80s. It's a really, really hard thing to be good at. So, you know, let's not despair. I think it's being more amplified by the rule changes that make it all about the quarterback. It used to be you could assemble a team with a mediocre quarterback. But they've taken the running game out. The defensive holding this weekend was sickening.
But answer me this, where'd the good offensive lines go, though?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I know where one went. Straight to the fucking hospital.
Well, no, but it's like, is it because we're getting into the era of the spread that they can generally pass block, but they can't run block anymore?
I think you might be onto something there. I hadn't thought of it. It's because now all the O-lines look like Miami's O-line. All they can do is pass block. They can't move forward at all.
Well, and we'll get to that in a few games here.
And by the way, I mean Miami under Marino, who gave up 0 sacks, but could never produce a running back to save their lives. All these guys or more of the guys are focused on taking that one step back and positioning, and this probably is affecting the running games. But this, everything I read about it said it was a terrible game, and I didn't go with the home team, which is something I usually do on Thursday, and I went with Kirk Cousins and Washington. Brilliant. Brilliant I was. Fuck.
Yeah, and the Giants theoretically could be 3-0. And if the Giants had been 2-0, you probably would have taken them instead of 0-2. Because to lose 2 games in the last minute is pretty rare back-to-back weeks.
One of the other things that factored in, too, comes up in the next game, which is Atlanta -2 at Dallas, which we loosely considered betting. But I really didn't believe that Atlanta was very good. Still don't think they're great, but after getting into a deep hole, they tore Dallas apart. I watched a fair bit of this game in the latter stages. Dallas's defense is kind of what we thought they would be last year. They're not good. If they're on the field more than 20 minutes, they really show some holes.
Well, at least Brandon Whedon has the consecutive completion record in Dallas now for 3-yard passes.
And what is this with football and fucking records like this? Are they trying to make it more like baseball? Every week I hear another, he's trying for this record. No! Football has never been about that kind of record. A few of them matter more than others. Touchdowns
no,
in
but
a
Marlon,
season. We're
in
bullshit.
24/7.
They're trying to hype this shit.
No, they're not trying to hype it. What are they going to talk about? They need every tidbit of information to give their talking head something to talk about 24 hours a day.
Well, and
that's why we're getting all this shit. Ever since, and nothing against the Elias Sports service that is the one coming up with all this shit, that's where it comes from. Because they've compiled all the databases, so they just look up something. Oh, yeah, nobody's done this since fucking Jim Brown in 1962. That's all it is.
Oh, I know.
Now
it's all meaningless,
been compiled.
Though. No one will remember this. This is clutter. This is junk.
Well, it is, but I was being facetious with Whedon because he's a horrible quarterback.
It's funny, but you're not incorrect, and that will never even be a trivia answer in the most obscure NFL trivia game in history.
No, but it will come up in a game when the next 10 years from now when there's another Cowboy quarterback that gets 16 in a row.
Okay,
and that'll be a question asked by some goof in the booth.
I think most interesting about this game when I watched it was Atlanta just ran at the left side of that Cowboys defensive line. And Freeman was getting 7 yards a clip minimum when it was an obvious rundown situation. Atlanta doesn't have a great O-line. He's not a great running back. And they just kept pounding it. It looked like Washington in the Super Bowl against Denver when they ran that counter tray a billion times.
Yeah, this wasn't one of my go-to games in between Titans. I was more into Cincinnati, Baltimore, and I believe it or not, I was flipping to Oakland and Cleveland a fair bit.
You can tell me more about that. I was staying away until the end of the game on the Cincy Baltimore because every time I turned, there was some disaster for Cincy. So anyway, took a huge lead and managed to throw it away. Dallas is in a lot more trouble than we realized.
Oh, there's lots of teams in trouble.
Yep. Well, Dallas still at least has a fighting chance because there's not a good team in the East yet.
No, it's a mediocre year this year. There's nobody going to rise up and surprise. There's a couple of good teams right now, and that's what we're going to see all year.
Atlanta impressed me, though.
Well, 3-0, but it's a horrible division they're in. It's going to be them and Carolina for the division.
And Atlanta's played all 3 NFC East teams, which maybe should count as half victories when you win.
Well, I want to see them play. I wanted Carolina and Atlanta to go up against each other just to see where they're at. Yeah. I like the move, seeing Carolina's getting Jared Allen from Chicago today. That's going to help their pass rush.
So I'm not sold on Atlanta, but they're still better than I thought. Next game up is our first winner of the day, which had me sweating bullets. We took Cincinnati money line to beat Baltimore in Baltimore, trusting the redhead.
And I don't have my phone with me. What did I send you?
You just said fucking red-haired quarterbacks. Believe.
Oh.
And that, by the way, that was the same play they ended up winning the game on. That he threw that brutal pick in the end zone on.
Oh, really?
It sure looked the same to me. Just different side of the field, but...
Well, and the fumble for a touchdown.
The Eifert touchdown, which was a goddamn touchdown. I was reading an explanation from the NFL about that Eifert touchdown that was rescinded. And they were saying, well, there is an element of time involved. What the fuck does that mean? You've got to count a Mississippi? Because last I saw, Des Bryant had it for a Mississippi. It's so absurd. Like, the rules don't make sense. If you say that Tyler Eifert, where he turned, stretched over to the end zone, broke the plane, and then it was kicked out of his hand, he didn't keep it to the ground, then I should have seen a lot more fumbles that they ruled incomplete. It's just ridiculous. Or things that were ruled incomplete, or fumbles should have been incomplete passes. Like, the rules don't even have any consistency to how they're called. And I'll get to one of those later, too.
No, they make it up as they go.
Well, and now, at what point in the rule book does it say there is an element of time involved?
Never heard of that explanation before.
Fucking mind blowing.
All it was clear control to the ground. That was it. That was all they ever said. Got to complete the catch through to the ground.
And you can't fumble in the end zone.
Yeah.
So once you break the plane of that with it in your hand, it should just be a simple fucking touchdown.
Yeah, because how many times have we seen guys lay the ball over the goal line and before they hit the ground, somebody knocks it out and it's whistle dead touchdown. That's what I don't get.
But that game
remember the days, like, going back to the Des Bryant play when the ground couldn't cause a fumble? Let alone an incomplete, like, he had control of the ball, reaches for the goal line, ball comes out. It should have been dead ball at the one. Ugh.
It seems like they fucked up that Calvin Johnson catch so badly that they just keep rewriting the rule so that is the right call. And they just keep changing the definition of a catch, no matter how much of a quagmire they spin themselves into.
Oh, we'll get to some other rules that I'm fucking shocked with, and it's with the team I hate, but...
And I know in week 2 they set a record for flags. Go NFL. And I think they broke their own record for number of flags in week 3. I haven't seen that confirmed, but bravo. That's the way to make the game more compelling. Throw more flags.
Yeah.
Anyway, that game was thrilling. We thought we were fucked after the Steve Smith touchdown. Back and forth.
Then,
like, at the half, we thought we were in pretty good shape.
But then when it was 17-14, all I was going through my head was what I said in the podcast last week. Was fucking the Ginger Nightmare fucking up in Baltimore.
Yeah, you sent me a text to that effect, too. It's like Cincy in Baltimore. Though he won there last year. I mean, that's 2 in a row in Baltimore for Dalton.
But it's always fucking weird. Like, it's a game that they had complete control of, somehow slipping away. And it's like, if it wasn't for and Dalton made a great pass on the play to A.J. Green.
Dalton was good. That one abysmal pick.
Yeah, but he had the pick. There was once both of us when we were talking at halftime go, how did Cincinnati not come away with points?
Well, that was the Tyler Eifert thing.
And
we hadn't seen it then. I've since watched the replay about 8 times, but
it was a weird thing. It's like, okay, watching the Titans game, see on the bottom, they're in the red zone. And
yeah, on the one, it's, whatever, and go. Baltimore, though, is desperate. At one point, early in the game, from their own 25, they ran a fake punt. They got the first down, though it didn't turn out to be any points, but they know they've got nothing they can count on in Baltimore.
No. Well, and who got receiving yards besides Steve Smith? Nobody.
Did Crockett Gilmore get anything?
40 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Baltimore's a desperate team. We got that one. I'd pushed hard for that game, so I felt an extra urgency to win that. But yeah, we spent the last 5 minutes of that game on the phone. And you mocked me for my superstitions, but you just said, we're not getting off the phone till this game's over. So.
Well, if I'm in agony,
yeah,
it's better to be in agony talking to somebody, because I kind of chuckled after the Titans. So,
which is our next game. This is the first time, and at least when the football gods fucked me in the ass in this game, they used lube.
Oh yeah, you probably were more excited than I.
Well, I wasn't even watching. I tried now, but in the Pick 5 contest, I went 4-1 again. The one game I failed on was I had Indy -3 at Tennessee. If I'd known that, I would have desperately wanted that 2-point conversion for Tennessee to go at the end. Because then at least Indy has a chance to get a touchdown, which is still slim. But I really wouldn't have wanted Tennessee to score that touchdown at all. So yeah, 4-1. That's the payout. The pool is $580. I don't know how many people would have won on that. So that cost me potentially some money.
Well, in that game, the Colts had nothing on offense for 3 quarters. They had one touchdown. Yeah, that would have been
theft if I got that game. I agree there.
But it was one touchdown in the first quarter on a 3rd and 20, basically a Hail Mary that got T.Y. Hilton to the 1, and then a run in for the touchdown. And they got an interception. Well, they called it an interception. It should have really been a fumble. Walker had the ball, got hit in the belly. Ball popped out right into a guy running in stride down the sidelines for a touchdown. That was it till the fourth quarter. They had one offensive touchdown until the fourth quarter. We were pressure on Luck. He had no time in the pocket. He was forcing throws. We had 2 picks on him. The one drive after the second pick, which really fucked us, was we got to 1st and goal at the 1 and couldn't punch it in and settled for a field goal. That made it 27-14. We had back-to-back picks and only got 10 points instead of 14. So instead of being 30, it would have been 35-31 going on our last drive, and the touchdown, we wouldn't have needed the 2-point conversion. We would have had the lead with 20 seconds left. I'm sure Indy would have called some timeouts in there somewhere to give him some time. But we did nothing in the fourth quarter, and the defense, we didn't go to prevent. We were still playing man. We just stopped getting pressure for whatever reason. And the whole momentum of the game... But the whole momentum of the game,
they shuffled all the positions along the offensive line in mid-game. Indy did, and suddenly they started to get protection. Sorry, to continue. I actually read an article that said that today.
The whole momentum of the game switched. Indy got a touchdown to make it 27-21. And Mariota threw a pick 2 plays later, which turned into a touchdown on the very next play. So Indy had
and that was a bad
taken the lead in game time from the time the first touchdown was scored to the time the pick and everything. It was about a minute. And we were behind by a point. And the first touchdown was a 98-yard drive, which
took an
should
absurd
never
amount
happen.
of time. The Tennessee had like a 9-minute drive in there too.
Yeah,
overall,
but
I
in
think
the fourth
you got to
quarter,
be happy with Mariota. I flipped to this game infrequently. Rookie quarterback, he looks good.
No, but I told you, if he's going to get credit for scanning the field on certain plays, he's going to get fucking buried for staring down the receiver on that pick.
Yeah, it was a brutal pick.
That turned the game. He made one bad throw. Because the Delaney Walker one he had it. It was right in the money. And he fumbled it. It wasn't a pick.
Yeah.
So his only pick of the game and only bad throw was that one, and it turned the game. So, and the 2-point conversion play, we were talking about where did the good running O-lines go? A yard. We couldn't get a yard. We put a defensive lineman in to block for the running back and put a 245-pound running back in to get a yard. And we couldn't get a yard.
Well, you kind of telegraphed what you were going to do. That was the same play as your scoring play. But it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Yeah, you should just be able to overpower it against a very thin and kind of puny Indy defense. But
their defense is fucking horrible.
So,
but there was the perfect play for Mariota to bootleg.
Yep. Do a Russell Wilson play.
Set it all up.
Spread him out. Like put a tight end in the mid-range.
No, not even spread him out. No, Marlon, you don't even have to spread him out. You just play action off the fucking to Andrews or not Fowler, whatever the fuck his name was. You do the same thing except you don't hand him the ball. Everybody crashed in. There was nobody on that left side. They all crashed.
Yeah.
Look at the tape. They all crashed. All Mariota has to do is fake that handoff and run to the pylon, and there's nobody going to catch him. But there's no creativity. No. Fuck. They don't do that ever.
I was listening to a podcast today of people who live in Arizona, and they said that's exactly what they expected out of Whisenhunt, and that's what they got. But... So, tough loss, but I still think you've got to be encouraged overall. He's still a rookie.
Well, yeah, but the defense still fucking blows.
There's
no way 14-point lead or 13-point lead should evaporate in the fourth quarter when you've got them pinned at the fucking 2. And we're supposed to have some defensive fucking genius in LeBeau. And Horton, for that matter. Sorry, I'll stop. I know I go on too long about this, but I get fucking riled up.
Well, we like you riled up, but yeah, we do have to move on. Next game up, New England did exactly what we thought with Jacksonville. I guess you're right. Here is the FU Patriots just being mean, and I didn't watch a minute of it.
Me either.
No surprises, really. Except the
amusing it. Oh, you might be bringing it up. What?
Go
ahead.
No, actually, I lost my train of thought. You go.
Oh, I was just going to say that the amusing part of the game was when Amendola threw Brady's 400 touchdown pass into the stands.
Right, that was where I was going.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, the bitch is in this world that's going to be up on eBay.
Yeah, for $10,000 or some fucking thing.
Yeah, just exchange it, to the Patriots for season tickets or something and say, let's not make this messy. Just say, give me season tickets for 5 years. Good ones, not this end zone shit.
I'd rather have the cash.
Oh, I know you'd rather have the cash, but don't make it ugly. The cash just makes you look lesser. Anyway, next. Oh, and we both got that right, by the way.
Fighting.
We both got the Indy game wrong. That was one of very few errors you made last week. And, yeah, I had a good week, and you still beat me by 1. Next up, we have... There was no line at the time we did the podcast. We both took Carolina, and we would have taken Carolina at either the 3.5, I believe, or the 6-point spreads that came out.
Yes.
Carolina has issues, but
Cam Newton's making up for those issues.
Yeah, and he remembered that there's this guy named Olsen who had 3 touchdowns on the day. 2 touchdowns on the day. 1 taken back by penalty. That's the second touchdown he's had taken back by a phantom penalty. Didn't really matter because he scored on the same drive, but they called a pick play, which was, by the way, not brutal. And why, when Denver or New England runs it, do they call it a rub? And there's no flag. When any other team runs it, it's a pick play. Decide on this, NFL. Either make it illegal, which I think they should, because this has become the whole backbone of most offenses in the league.
Well, it's only supposed to be legal within a yard of the line of scrimmage.
Oh, well, have you watched a Denver or New England game lately?
Oh, no, Marlon.
And as long as they're not calling it, I don't blame the coaches for doing it. But what you can't have is sometimes it's illegal, sometimes it's legal, depending on which team is running it. It's bullshit. Well, this isn't new about anything. I've been bitching about the pick play since it was a Denver-San Diego game a couple of years back.
No,
and they came out with the explanation that it was... Oh, yeah, it wasn't. It was actually Indy Chargers. You're right. And the league explanation was it wasn't a pick, it was a rub.
And the Colts started doing that with Manning. Believe me, I've watched enough fucking rubs, picks, fucking with them against the Titans to make you puke.
And it's so obvious that the intention is there. That's all it is. I mean, that's what Seattle was trying to run when they lost the Super Bowl. Decide on the fucking rule, NFL, and don't change the rule by who's playing QB. Newton was fantastic, I thought. And in the periods of this game that I watched, which was fairly lengthy, Carolina was getting screwed by the refs. Every call I saw went against Carolina, which was questionable. So I think the NFL wanted a hero story with the star, Luke McCown, the star of those quite amusing backup QB ads, though I can't remember what product it's for. I think they wanted him to be a star. Some of us would really shine. And you know what? He's adequate. He's probably as good as half the quarterbacks starting right now.
Well, he didn't have a bad day, but all these guys, if you look at him and Whedon, the passes were traveling 3-4 yards.
Yeah.
There's a way to limit mistake. You're not going to score any fucking points, but the quarterback doesn't look horrible. So that a guy that's been in the league long enough, that's all you trust him with?
Yeah. Well, and that's what you should trust your backup quarterback with.
Your backup should be able to be trusted to throw the ball down the league if you're paying him $2-3 million to fucking prepare. The fuck's he do in practice? Any of these guys.
Well, he's also backup for a guy who hasn't missed a game in 10 years. There you're looking for something different in a backup. You're looking for someone who's not a raging fuck up.
Yeah, but they all are anyway. If they can't run your offense, they're a raging fuck up anyway.
Yeah. Okay, we both got that one right. The next game we split on. Oakland was plus 3.5 going into Cleveland, led by the other McCown. You had Cleveland, I had Oakland. I actually gained a game on you on this. Didn't see much
this wasn't
of it.
bad.
You said you watched a bit of this.
Same thing I said about Tennessee when the Titans played in Cleveland. You can run on the edge on Cleveland, and that's what they did. Murray had like 130 yards rushing, had one long one down the sideline for about 50, 60 yards. Amari Cooper had his kind of coming out game, I think, which I was a little worried about with Hayden covering him. But Hayden said after the game he's going to be a beast.
Oh, he is. I think he came out the week before. I think Amari Cooper is going to be outstanding. And I've heard naysayers about Carr. We both loved him last year. I think it's starting to look like we were right and all you fuckers were wrong. He's a good-looking quarterback.
Yeah. Alden Smith made some plays in that game for him in the running game.
Khalil Mack is fun to watch. I mean, he's already taking on double teams and still being effective sometimes.
Yeah, they're
Oakland's on the up.
Yeah, we weren't so sure after Cincy fucking crushed them, but
I still stand by. I think Cincy's a really good team. But
they got to get rid of that, and they've had enough time with that team that's there now to have learned how to manage a 14-point lead and not fuck it up.
They might still collapse. They still might be shit in the playoffs. They still might do whatever. But week to week, Cincy is one of the most complete teams in the league.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but how can you continue to do that shit and be taken seriously? I just don't have a great deal of confidence against the teams in the top third that they're going to be able to finish the deal.
Yeah.
Because it's just stupid shit.
We'll see where I go in the playoffs, but right now I watched them. Their O-line's good. Their D-line is playing pretty well. Like, they shut down.
Marlon,
Justin Forsett is gone, right?
Good teams. And I had flipped over to this game right after it happened. They had Tyler Eifert blocking the Ravens' best pass rusher on the fumble that Dalton had.
Wow.
That's what good teams don't do.
No.
That's what scares me about Cincinnati. Yeah. Yes, they have talent, but how does that shit continue to happen? I could see if you had a running back over there to chip, or to back up your tight end. No, he was naked.
Okay. We've done the Cincy game, though. I do just want to bring up something we didn't. Did you see the Steve Smith on the sidelines? Lip sync? Talking about Cincy's secondary? Oh, trash, fuck boy, inaudible. Was how he assessed them.
Oh, we're gonna miss Steve Smith somewhat. Some of the guys he's punched out won't be sorry to see him leave. But
no, and I still don't want to meet him. He would just beat the shit out of me on principle. But I do like trash, fuck boy. All right. And by the way, the main reason I took Oakland in that too was what you discussed about the Titans game. They had 2 bombs and a punt return. That was it. Oakland's gotten more than that, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a better call. Now this next game. This next game cost me tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm not joking.
Maybe.
Well,
it depends how many winners in this one too.
That's true. Okay, in Canada here we have a thing called the pools, and I play it with a coworker. We throw in $10 each on Friday because we were always talking about football all week anyway. We decide on it, and then we box 2 games out of all the Sunday games and the Monday games. The Thursday game is not included. We put together a ticket, so it's $10 each, $20 ticket. We went, 14 of 15.
Well, that's a good record.
Fucking Jets. Yeah, but you get nothing for second place. And I know I'm getting nothing for this because it's a relatively predictable week. There are lots of people out there with 15 of 15.
Oh, and lots of guys will box 4.
Yeah.
2.
Lots of... Yeah, so I have no chance of winning this, though the official results aren't up. This is the game that fucked me. And I wasn't, of course, aware that this was going to be the game that fucked me. So, as Philly took the lead, I was thinking, okay, I look pretty good here because you considered betting the Jets, and I just said, I'm not comfortable with this. Philly will fuck you. Somehow. So I talked you off. But not Dave.
I don't mean to laugh at your pain.
It's hard, because the total prize pool in the previous week, for example, was $250,000. There were 2 winners. Even if there were 10 winners, that's, 24,000 split 2 ways. 14 a motherfucking 15. Fuck the Jets. Fuck the Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Oh, that blows.
That's, I think, the worst single game gambling loss either of us have experienced in our lives.
Yes. Now, to the game itself, from what I heard today, the Eagles were up 24-0 at the half and basically played the second half going, well, we don't really have to do anything on offense, which they didn't. They actually played conservatively. We're using clock. We're doing all the shit that the Eagles never do. Chip Kelly got conservative. That's how the Jets got back in the game. Or to make it look respectable anyway. But they're 2 bad teams. Bradford was under 50%, I think.
Well, and this is what we usually box, too, is 2 shitty teams. And I don't know. Something stunk about this one. Why I didn't
which
want to
did you box?
We boxed Cleveland Raiders, which fits that pattern.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he thought Miami was going to win, so we boxed that when we discussed it. It's the same sort of thing. Like, I'm not blaming him. You know how you and I work. It's the same way.
Yeah.
You don't bitch at someone, right? But yeah, this is the time the football. This is the time the football gods fucked me in the ass without lube. So.
Jelly heard it. Fucking Dave.
Yeah, no. I fucking pulled. Football gods pulled a train on my ass. Fuck, that one hurts. Anyway. Worst case scenario, it's a grand. Absolute worst case scenario was a grand. I lost there. And with the Indy one losing me, worst case scenario, $100. Yeah, it was a bad weekend, even though we did well. But, hey, I am pleased that I did say I didn't want to bet this game at all. Which should have been my signal to box it. With you and I.
And you know what? I'm with Dave on that. I thought that I wasn't expecting the Eagles to be able to run the ball on the Jets, and that's what they did. Ryan Matthews was over 100 yards, averaged more than 5 yards a carry. It was... it is what it is. It's what we're going to see all year. It's a bunch of mediocre teams again.
Yep.
Same as last.
Well, and did you ever really expect the Jets to be good? I mean, when we talked about it on the pick show, I finally just said Ryan Fitzpatrick was the crowning point of my argument. There's a guy who should be a competent backup, and that's all he should be. And that's all he was supposed to be in Tennessee last year.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from my pain. My poor poverty-stricken pain. Pittsburgh, -1 at the Rams.
Okay, here's another one where you were talking about the rules on the catch. Somebody needs to explain to me the rules on hitting the quarterback low. Because I've seen flags thrown on that in Tennessee games where the guy fucking stumbles into the quarterback and hits him in the knees, and it's a flag. And in the St. Louis game, Big Ben gets his knee taken out, no flag. Jeff Fisher, who's on the competition committee and the head coach of the Rams, oh, no, that wasn't a penalty. We've discussed that in the competition committee years ago.
Now, there was no malice in it. It was clearly a fucking penalty.
You're not supposed to be able to hit the... Because he dove. He stumbled, hit the ground, and then dove at his lower body, which is what you're not supposed to be able to do. So,
I didn't see it as a dive. I didn't see any malice in it, but the way they're calling it, whether you're already launched and have momentum, and then a guy comes across with a middle block and you end up hitting the knees, they call the flag. It should always be a fucking flag. I didn't see malice or intent
no, he's just trying to make a play.
Yeah, but that
he's just trying
still
to make
should
a play,
be a
but
goddamn flag.
Well, you're not supposed to go with the quarterback's legs like that. Malice intent
Which is
doesn't
absurd
matter.
enough anyway. All these rules to protect quarterbacks have not protected quarterbacks and make the game suckier.
No, but if there's no penalty, and if the league came out and said it's no penalty, the correct call was made, you can't fine the guy.
Well, I don't think he deserves a fine. I didn't see the malice. I did not see
but Marlon,
the intent
it's not.
there.
He wasn't trying to hurt him, but he did push off the turf to get to his knee, to get to his legs. Not necessarily naming it his knee, but he propelled himself from the turf low, which you're not supposed to do. In theory, he should get up and chase him now, once you're down.
See, I thought he was more trying to get up, but I'll have to rewatch that because I've only seen it about 2 times.
He gets like on all fours and then kind of pushes off with his feet in a lunge. To me, that's what it looked like, and he hits. And I hate the Steelers, so there's no bias here in saying that there's something should have been done.
I don't think any set of rules was going to protect Roethlisberger there, though. Is kind of my point.
No, but here's the point where it does protect. Okay, Pollard, they put that rule in after Pollard took out Brady for the year on the same fucking play. Knock to the ground, kind of lunge at the legs, and you blow a quarterback's knee out. Okay, you can't hit the quarterback below the knee, or we're flagging it. Well, if you flag it, then you can fine it. So if I'm in that situation, I just kind of pretend I'm stumbling and fucking launch myself into the quarterback, just like that clown from the Rams did.
Well, I don't know why the rule exists to begin with.
No, but where's the Okay, I do, because we're watching Brandon Weeden, fucking the McCown brothers, all these
rules exist to protect quarterbacks, and they have not done so.
But if you don't,
is fucked up the game.
If there's no penalty enforced for fucking with the quarterback, then why the fuck would you stop?
Well, but here's the thing. Maybe quarterbacks, if they do not think they have this aura of invincibility that no one can hit them, they have to play the position a little better. Maybe not move up to sacrifice themselves thinking, oh, I can't be hit. Maybe they have to play like quarterbacks in the past. Which is, you don't just dance around like all these fucking scrambling guys knowing that they can't get taken down.
No, in this case, I'm defending Roethlisberger because when somebody's laying on the ground, you can't see him. You can't see him. I'm not defending him from taking a hit, but when a guy's laying on the ground and you can't see him, how are you supposed to protect yourself? That's where the issue comes in for me. But if you hit him in the back...
But those hits on the legs happen to every other player. Where's the protection for a running back?
Well, Marlon, we've argued this. I'm just, in this particular instance, when you can't see the guy, how are you supposed to protect yourself? That's my argument. How can you protect? I'm not against the quarterback taking hits, but when you can't see it and you go for the knees, and the players said it themselves, well, when we can't hit high, we're just going to go low and blow knees out, and it's happening position players.
And that's where these rules are becoming
I know.
absurd.
I agree with that.
Like you cannot change what happens in 8.5 seconds of frenzied violence. The notion that this is acceptable and this is not.
Watch the replay, and he lunges at his knee.
Okay, and that is a good point there that I have not watched enough, and I may change my opinion on this. But
he launched at his knee from the ground, and his fucking shoulder or helmet hit him fucking mid-shin or above. You can't... The quarterback's got to have some protection. I would take out all the other rules to protect the legs, because you can come back from a shoulder quicker than a fucking knee.
Yeah,
and
I guess old school Joe Namath would certainly support that.
Well, we're so short on quarterbacks in the NFL now. When you lose one of those 6 that we have, it just made watching football shittier.
Yeah, and it's terrible, and it hurts a lot of Pittsburgh because they were all O. Everyone. It took Roethlisberger 2 years to understand this offense and start to make it productive. I really don't have high hopes for Vic in this situation. All right. Even then, Pittsburgh still managed to beat the fucking Rams. And cover. We both got that one right.
Nick Foles.
Next game up, I'm going to be brief. I hate being goddamn completely right. What I described would happen in the Minnesota game happened. The Chargers O-line, which sent another... At one point, we only had 5 O-linemen, and we were trying to rotate them. King Dunlap, the only guy who'd played well all year, just got beaten brutally. Rivers had no time at all, and when he went down, there were usually 4 Vikings on top of him. Just absolutely fucking savage. I predicted this. It's exactly what we agreed was going to happen in this game. Minnesota was thrashed by the Vikings. And what really pissed me off was Keenan Allen styling into the end zone in a game they were dominated in at the end of the first half. I don't think he knew Xavier Rhodes was injured, which makes it look more heinous, but he had no idea on that. But when your team has done fuck nothing, don't do that shit.
See, I don't have as big a problem there, because it made the game 10-7 at the time. Like, if
the
got him back in
dominance
the
was
game,
brutal, though, Boyd. Like,
no, but you still I've seen teams get dominated for 3 quarters, Indianapolis, and come back and win.
But you
so
don't
I don't have a
style
problem
in there.
In the first half. I don't have. If it was 24-0, I'd have an issue. 10-0, nah, you're back in the game. I don't have as big issue as other times. I'll take your word for it.
That felt like 28-0.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
That's how much they were dominating. I hate the silly celebration. I love celebration when there's a reason to celebrate. That was not...
See, at 10-7, I don't have an issue, or 10-0. I don't really have an issue with it.
But yeah, and the O-line, which the Chargers tried to address. Like, this isn't even like Indy, where they just ignored a ridiculous O-line. The Chargers did everything they could, and somehow we have another 5 guys injured out of our 10 potential O-line guys. Fucking tragedy, man. The Chargers will be lucky to win 4 this year. And then we get out of cap hell and maybe we can do something. But that was depressing. I stopped watching. I didn't even realize the second touchdown to Keenan Allen was with, Case Keenum? Yeah. The backup came in because Rivers may not have survived the game. He may have a rib sticking out through his back at this stage. Brutal. Brutal. We both got that
That's
one
okay.
right.
God will heal him for next week.
Huh. He always starts.
That's funny for an atheist to cheer for probably the most religious quarterback in the league.
Hey, man, I cheer for his job, not his beliefs. That's a problem most people have in this world, is being unable to separate what someone does from what they do in their private
take
lives.
It, Joe. Jesus, I wasn't trying to.
It was an unpleasant game to watch.
Well, like I told you, I'd rather watch my team get fucking beat 62-7 than have it fucking end the way ours ended in Tennessee. So.
Yeah. A better team whipped the ass as I expected. All right, next game up. You got it, I didn't, and I feel robbed. Houston managed to cover against Tampa Bay, aided in no small part by 3 missed field goals and a missed extra point for good measure.
Do we know the distances on those field goals?
They were all. 2 of them were within 40, and I believe one was in the low 40s. Now, why he hasn't been cut already blows my mind.
No, Lovie Smith said he's their guy.
Nick Novak is out there. He's a reliable field goal kicker.
Yeah, but then you got to go.
His kickoff is goddamn fucking terrible.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Then you got to go get a kicker for kickoffs.
But seriously, sweet God, what do you have to do to lose your job as the kicker in Tampa Bay? They fired Connor Barth in preseason. So is this just... No. Is this just stubbornness?
Well, no, we made a decision. Now we can't look bad week 3.
Well, no. You missed... The extra point is a 96% kick now in the new rules. The other 2 of the other kicks he missed were also in the mid-90s. What do you have to do? Ridiculous. I thought Houston should not be favored by 6.5. I stand by that pick. I got screwed.
Well, Lovie Smith, no, but going back to the kicker, when you make a decision, we've talked about this plenty. When you make a decision like that, you can't cut the guy because then you're saying you fucked up. And that's one thing that NFL front offices and coaches will never do. In any sport, actually, not just football. They all do it. You keep a guy, you cut a veteran guy, and he's not working out. Well, we can't admit we were wrong.
Yeah, even though the evidence clearly shows you were wrong. Didn't watch a play of this.
No, me either.
Houston's brutal. I'm not saying Tampa Bay would have won. The margin of victory was 10. He left 10 points on the board. I don't think Tampa Bay was going to win this game anyway. Houston is better than Tampa Bay, but they're not 6.5 better, and that was a travesty. Next up, the afternoon got merrier for us, though. Arizona. We took these guys. We laid 6.5 points, which is a pretty big number to lay. We were covered by about 5 minutes in against Colin Kaepernick.
How does he still have a job?
Well, he showed leadership by... We ripped him last year after a brutal loss when he referred to everything bad, he said we. When he wins, he says I. This sounds basic and picky, but it is true. The quarterback always takes the loss on himself, and the win is by the other guys.
Yeah.
It's cliche, but it's that simple. This time, he admitted he was the reason they lost. Well, 2 pick sixes in the first 5 minutes. points. 2 more picks. And I believe he ended up with less than 100 fucking yards. God damn, he's a useless piece of shit. I hate him. And I'm glad. Hey, Colin's mom, defend him on Twitter after that fucking shit show.
Yeah. Nothing to add from me. You pretty much summed it up.
Okay.
Didn't watch a down of it.
I've watched a bit just to laugh because I have some serious shotgun fraud about Colin Kaepernick. This game was as much of a laugher. Buffalo was +3. We took them on the money line. Miami's awful. I don't know at what point should we start looking at an over-under for Philbin getting fired?
No, they won't. In Miami, they're too cheap. And it's... You wouldn't benefit anything from it anyway. There's no benefit in mid-season, really, of firing. It's never worked. The time to get rid of him was after the whole incognito thing, and then they re-upped him. So you're stuck with him. We called it after Hard Knocks, milquetoast coach.
And
don't
we
think
also
he's a good leader.
Could someone explain to me why everyone is still rubbing one out for Tannehill?
Oh, arm strength. That's it. But one thing I noticed in that game...
But he never throws the ball deep.
No. Well, they don't have any receivers to go deep.
Well, they had Mike Wallace, who was supposed to just spread the field, but how many targets did Wallace get last year? 1, maybe 2 a game?
Well, here's what I noticed, and it's the same thing I've harped on more than you, but they're down, I think it was 31-14 or something like that when they got stopped on the goal line 4 straight plays and didn't try and run it once. What the fuck are you doing? It's that same thing. Oh, quarterback confidence, got to keep the quarterback. They threw 2 fades to the corner. He threw both of them out of bounds.
Which
threw one out of the back of the end zone.
My opinion on the fade corner near the goal line, it's like, it's an 8%
ridiculous
play. Let's do it.
And I can't even remember what the other play was. But he did 2 to the same corner, 1st and 4th down. They ran the same play. Wasn't close on either one. And I'm thinking, well, on one play, you got to try and run it with Miller. Not even and you're losing. Isn't the option there...
Did they go empty backfields? That's my next question. Oh,
yes, shotgun.
Beautiful.
Shotgun.
Don't even offer the threat of a rush.
They may have on 3rd down had a running back in there, but they still threw it. So it's that same thing. Why are you coddling these quarterbacks? The goal there was to score as quickly as you can. Even if it's predictable, in that situation, I know we always bitch about no creativity, but in that situation, it's just about getting the points. To have some hope. Don't build up the quarterback's confidence.
Arizona twice from roughly the 2. Chris Johnson, straight through the middle. Touchdown. Don't overthink it. Don't make Carson Palmer try to throw a corner fade, which I still think is the dumbest goddamn play in football.
Yeah, I know I sound like I'm contradicting myself about the no creativity thing, but you can be creative in the run game too, or a screen or something, not just run it up the gut. Do something, but corner fades when they've got 9 guys in the fucking box.
And you've got Jordan Cameron, who can probably come across the middle with some success. Yeah. But I was delighted to just see our win be more or less cemented halfway through the second. And the other thing I take away from this game is Tyrod Taylor is good. I did not see him
his
rush.
Dick yet.
No, I'm not sucking his dick, but I saw him throw in the roll. I saw him throw from the pocket.
Miami's bad. Jacksonville beat him.
Yeah. But I did see him do everything but run in the parts of the game I watched.
No, that's okay, but we'll see.
And I thought he would be the one-look tuck and run guy. And I saw no evidence of that, so...
I'm not as sold on him as you are, but we'll see.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold, but I'm definitely researching buying.
Like against Indy, who has a horrible defense, he looked okay. Miami's defense is nowhere near what they were projected to be. And so we'll see when he plays somebody good.
Well, yeah, he got destroyed by New England, put up points, but yeah, it's way too early, but I liked what I saw. I saw a very smooth quarterback who looked like he could handle a variety of situations and who seemed to think that running was the last option. And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, but we'll see what he does when he goes to New England.
Well, New England already thrashed him, but
no, I know, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt
there. Yeah,
I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt there, just because it was the second game as a starter. But we'll see later on in the year where he's at in a game like that. You got to win games like that.
Yeah, but you've also got to handle Miami at home in their home opener and handle them. His first quarter was near flawless. He hit receivers, he hit tight ends, he did everything. It was very impressive. Next up... Oh, sorry, did you have something else?
No, I was just going to say, I think McCoy might have lost his job.
All right, next up, Seattle was at home, laying 14.5 to Chicago. This one, what can I say? Seattle still has problems in the red zone. Hauschka kicked, 5 field goals? 4? 4 plus a couple of extra points. Chicago, what's the spread going to be against the next good opponent they have to face?
Well, it depends if Cutler's playing or not.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Now Chicago is going to be pining for Cutler.
Well, for Seattle to only be up 6-0 at the half in that game is shocking.
They've got red zone issues. I don't think Seattle's particularly good either.
No, but we thought that last year. I think they were 500 after like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, the Chargers beat them, but they'll in San Diego.
So we'll see. I'm not writing off Seattle yet, but Lynch might be down now with a hamstring, so we'll see. I'm sure Fred Jackson's going to go for a bundle on our waiver wire.
It wasn't Jackson. It was the other guy. He's the step up, man. Oh, and I shouldn't be tipping you on the fantasy league, but... All right, this game I didn't watch. I watched I didn't see 3 plays. Every afternoon game was an absolute blowout. But when we were on the right side of 2 of those blowouts, I was still happy. I didn't care about football at that stage.
No, I just wanted the clock to run out and just put the money in our account and be done.
Yeah. Next game up, the Sunday night game, Denver-Detroit. It was off the board. We would have laid Denver. I think it settled at 3.5, 2.5.
Yeah.
We both got this one right. Detroit has no O-line. Calvin Johnson appears. Detroit got screwed by the refs in this game on multiple occasions. This is the other ref call I want to bring up. Well, there's 2. First of all, Triplett. As soon as he came on as the ref, I looked at Shelley and I said, this guy is one of the worst refs in the goddamn league. How does he get a national game? He then did not know the rules on the taunting penalty. He came out and announced that Detroit would take the penalty on the extra point attempt. Until people came over and explained to him that that's not the rule. You can't do that. Nice
That's
to know
enforced
the
on
ref.
the kickoff.
Yeah. Has to be enforced in the kickoff, which I think is wrong, but nevertheless, if you don't know the rule, should you be reffing the game? Secondly, there was a Stafford fumble, which was virtually frame by frame identical to the Dalton fumble, which you said Chargers got screwed in the previous game. Triplett was also officiating that game. And I said, no, it's a shitty rule, but they applied the rule correctly. Same thing happened. Suddenly it's a fumble for Stafford.
Oh, he was pulling it in and got it hit out of his hand?
Yep. Exactly. Like, even Collinsworth was bringing up, he's going, how do you rule the Dalton one not a fumble and this one a fumble? It'll be really interesting to see how the NFL comments on this. Collinsworth brought this up in the game. That it was the same play ruled two different ways by the same goddamn Alzheimer-ridden ref.
Would it have changed the outcome of the game at all?
Yeah, at that stage, it really was vital. It was only, I believe, a 6-point game at the time. That changed possession, gave possession, and Denver field goal on the play, on the drive. Yes, it was a vital play. And in the Chargers one, it took away a Chargers touchdown.
Yeah.
So that's two identical plays ruled differently by the same ref that changed games.
See, I watched a little of this game, not much. Manning's arm still isn't there.
No. I mean,
everything's
listened to
an
this.
arc.
I was doing stuff at the table, but
everything's a rainbow arc on it.
Yeah.
And even the touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas was essentially a jump ball. He just lofted up.
Well, and that's what you do with big receivers. Like, I don't...
Yeah, in the end zone, maybe.
Denver is going
that
to
ball
win,
was
but
underthrown.
Denver is winning on defense.
Yeah, that ball was underthrown to Thomas.
Yeah, and not a back shoulder, as Dilfer would have told you, when he described how Kaepernick's amazing because he's changed his release points. And, you know, that was a great miss by throwing behind your receiver, cutting across the middle. I still can't believe that call.
But no, in past Manning years, that would have been a touchdown in stride.
Yep.
Not, I got to jump up and pluck the ball from in front of the DB and then go in for the touchdown. That would have hit him at about the 3 in stride, and he would have walked into the end zone. Because Thomas had him beat.
There were several other calls in that game, by the way. Like, how many times did Caldwell have to challenge plays that should have gone Denver's way? Denver also, on the Demaryius Thomas fumble, and we discussed that briefly earlier, about how is that a fumble and Tyler Effort's is incomplete. On that one, Detroit recovered the ball and ran it for a touchdown, but because it had to go for review...
Well, no, it was because the ref blew the whistle.
You cannot advance the fumble. Exactly.
No, it was the ref blew the whistle.
Yeah, I know.
Where
but
normally
why
they
was
don't
that
blow the
not
whistle?
ruled? Yeah, like in every other occasion except for a Peyton Manning play.
They usually don't. They usually just let the play out, and then we can go to replay if we have to, because it was a scoring play, so they would have reviewed it anyway.
Exactly. This is why I'm saying I think Detroit got fucked by that garbage fuckboy officiating team.
Now you're just trying to suck up to Mitch.
No, I'm trying to suck up to Steve Smith.
Don't worry, Mitch. Cubs will still do it.
Or trash fuckboy.
Cubs will still do it, Mitch. No, but keep your head up, buddy.
No, it was true. Detroit got fucked by the officials. And I just named 2 examples. Anyway. We both still got it right with Denver. And in spite of the fact that they sacked Stafford about 3 times in the first half, Detroit did something right to back off the Denver pass rush.
Yeah, I don't know. Were they running the ball or no?
No, God, no. Detroit has no running game.
Sorry I didn't watch that. Jake Arrieta threw a one-hitter through 7.
All right, that's probably what Mitch was watching. All right. And the final game, which I saw nothing because I went and saw a movie tonight. Kansas City plus 6.5 at Green Bay. We both took Green Bay. You see any of it?
Nope. What was the final? 38-28, I think?
Yeah, it was...
And that flatters Kansas City. It was 38-14 at the start of the fourth quarter. Or when I turned it on, there was 12 minutes left, but I was making something to eat and just listening and didn't see fuck all.
5 touchdowns for Rodgers.
3 for Cobb. I don't know who caught the other 2. But doesn't matter. It went how we thought.
Green Bay at home is virtually impossible to beat. Green Bay is virtually impossible to beat.
They're the cream of the NFC right now.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe Arizona might be close second, maybe. But they haven't really beat anybody of consequence now. So.
Arizona, the people they've beaten have one win outside in those games. So, anyway, you went 13 of 16. Fantastic week against the spread, Boyd. I went 12 of 16, which ain't so fucking bad.
That's mediocre week for you.
Yeah. Only compared to you.
No, you had a really good week too. I couldn't resist the jab.
And we bet $30 and we returned $64.09 for a $34.09 profit. A great week.
Beauty. We are now 6-3 on the year and 4-0 with underdog picks. So jump on the bandwagon, folks. Yeah, and don't forget to listen to our picks podcast on Wednesday to find out what our underdog pick is this week.
Well, where can I listen to that, boy?
Okay. You can check out our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device, on our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines for any updates to our blog posts or when a new pod is available. Our personal Twitter accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd. Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to send us an email, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. And fuck the Jets.
Degenerate fucking gambler.